All right, so secret societies. Gotta love a good mystery, right? You sent over this excerpt ranking secret societies. And honestly, I'm here for it. Who doesn't love a good conspiracy theory deep dive?
Well, it's more than just the conspiracies themselves, isn't it? It's that need we all have to make sense of things, to find patterns, especially when the world feels so complex.
Totally. Like, is there really some group pulling strings behind everything? Part of me wants to believe.
That's the power of narrative, and this excerpt dives right into that, even ranking those narratives, different tiers of secret societies, like they're judging the best conspiracy theories.
Okay, that's kind of amazing. So where do they start?
With the classics, the groups that are undeniably real, even if their influence today is, well, debatable. Your History Channel favorites.
Right, like the Freemasons. You see those symbols everywhere. It instantly makes you think, conspiracy. But like, are they really meeting in some shadowy lodge deciding the fate of the world with secret handshakes? What's the real deal there?
Well, their history is definitely interesting, tangled up with revolutions, important figures, all of that. Their whole emphasis on reason and liberty was pretty radical back in the day.
But globally, today, they're probably not orchestrating coups, right?
Probably not. That's where the mystique might outlive the actual influence.
So fascinating history, less fascinating present.
Precisely. And that's where that power of narrative really kicks in. Symbols, rituals, whispers of secret knowledge. That's what sticks with people, whether it's true or not.
Which brings us to, oh, I bet I know this one. Skull and Bones, right? Elite universities, future world leaders that just screams conspiracy theory waiting to happen.
And you can see why people make that leap, right? If you are aiming for global influence, wouldn't you want to get to those future leaders early on?
Chilling. But do we have proof? Are there memos from Skull and Bones HQ dictating global events?
That's where it gets murky. There's evidence of their activities for sure, but tying them directly to like world-altering events, that's a harder case to make.
It's the potential, the what if, that gets you.
Exactly. That's what captures the imagination. So Tier C, real groups, real history, but the level of current influence, up for debate.
Which makes me think the next tier's got to be where things get juicy, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is where the history gets a bit shaky, the theories require a bit more imagination. We're moving into Tier B territory.
Ooh, okay. Lay it on me. What's Tier B all about?
How about a group that's practically synonymous with conspiracy theories these days? The Bavarian Illuminati.
Right. Books, movies, video games, everyone's got their own version of the Illuminati pulling strings behind the scenes.
And they always make for a good story.
Yeah.
But the real Illuminati, they were a bit different from their pop culture counterparts. Short-lived, focused more on Enlightenment ideals than world domination, at least initially.
So less about controlling governments, more about promoting, like, reason and intellectual freedom.
Essentially. But here's the interesting part. Their quick rise and fall, all the secrecy surrounding them, it created this perfect breeding ground for conspiracy.
So the real group might be gone, but the idea of them, that's what took hold.
Exactly. And once an idea like that takes root, it can be hard to shake, even with evidence to the contrary.
Speaking of things that are hard to shake, anything from the Da Vinci Code in this ranking?
Funny you should mention that. Our next group is practically ripped from those pages.
Yeah.
The Priory of Sion.
Right. Secret societies, the Catholic Church, hidden bloodlines. It's got all the makings of a bestseller. What's the real story there?
Well, the Priory of Sion, as many believe it to exist, based on the Da Vinci Code and other such works, is largely a hoax, a fabrication.
Yeah, hold on. No secret protectors of Jesus's bloodline. No ancient conspiracies within the Vatican.
Afraid not. While there's some evidence of a group called the Priory of Sion existing in the 20th century, it wasn't this powerful, ancient organization. The Knights Templar connection, the secret lineage, the hidden gospels, all made up.
Okay, on the one hand, bummer. On the other hand, kind of relieved. It's weird, though. Why did this particular hoax grab people so intensely?
Because it plays on those deep-seated desires, those anxieties we have. Challenging established history, whispers of hidden knowledge that could change everything. It's powerful stuff.
So even though we know it's not true, some part of us still wants to believe. Okay, let's move on to some groups that were actually real, even if their stories have been, shall we say, embellished over time.
All right, then it's time to step into Tier A, where the lines between fact and fiction get even blurrier. This is where we find those groups with undeniable historical weight groups, like the Knights Templar, Opus Dei, and the very real, very secretive Bilderberg group.
Now we're talking. These are the groups that even skeptics have to admit are a little intriguing. Where do we even begin?
Let's start with a classic, the Knights Templar. Warrior monks, whispers of vast wealth, a sudden and dramatic downfall, is a story that practically begs for conspiracy theories.
Right, it's like something out of an Indiana Jones movie. But what's the real story behind their downfall? Were they framed? Did they hide their treasure?
Their story is undeniably dramatic. They rose to prominence during the Crusades, gained power, wealth, and then, bam, accused of heresy, wiped out practically overnight. While that sounds like a conspiracy theory in itself, much of their downfall can be attributed to politics and, believe it or not, debt.
Debt? Really?
Oh yes, King Philip V of France owed them a significant amount of money and saw an opportunity, seize their assets, erase his debts.
So, less about ancient secrets and more about good old-fashioned greed and power grabs. Still, the way they vanished, the whispers of hidden treasure, it makes you wonder, what if there were secrets?
It's a tantalizing thought, isn't it? And that's part of what keeps these stories alive. We're drawn to the what-ifs, the possibilities that challenge our understanding of history.
A world where maybe, just maybe, the Knights Templar are still out there, their secrets hidden in plain sight. Okay, before we get too caught up in treasure hunting, let's talk about another Tier A group that always piques my interest. Opus Dei.
Ah, yes. A group often misunderstood, especially after a certain popular novel cast them in a less than favorable light.
The Da Vinci Code strikes again. How much of that portrayal lines up with reality, though? Is Opus Dei really this secretive force within the Vatican pulling strings from the shadows?
It's important to separate fact from fiction here. Opus Dei is a real entity within the Catholic Church, but it's not the shadowy cabal often depicted in popular culture. Their primary focus is actually quite simple, finding holiness in everyday life.
So less about controlling the world, more about, being really dedicated to your day job.
In a simplified sense, yes. It encourages members from all walks of life to strive for spiritual growth through their work, their everyday actions.
Okay, I see what you mean. They're a powerful group within an already powerful institution, so it's easy to see why that raises eyebrows.
Exactly. And that connection to the Catholic Church, which has its own history of power and intrigue, only adds fuel to the fire.
Makes sense. Now, there's one more group in Tier A. I've definitely heard whispers about the Bilderberg group. This one sounds like it's straight out of a political thriller. Secret meetings, powerful people, global implications. What's the real story?
It does have all the elements of a good conspiracy, doesn't it? The Bilderberg group is about as close to a real-life gathering of the elites as we get. We're talking individuals who shape global politics, finance, industry major players.
Okay, so spill the tea. Who are these people and what are they actually talking about behind those closed doors?
The guest list often includes heads of state, CEOs of major corporations, central bankers, even royalty makes an appearance.
Royalty? Wow. Okay, so what are they discussing?
Well, that's where things get a bit murky because it's all kept confidential. No official records, no press releases, no transparency whatsoever.
No wonder people are suspicious. It's like, what are you talking about that you don't want the rest of us to know? Are they setting global agendas, manipulating markets, planning wars?
While those theories are out there, there's no direct evidence to support them. However, the lack of transparency does raise valid questions about accountability.
Right. It's one thing to have powerful people talking amongst themselves, but it's another when those conversations happen in secret and could potentially impact the lives of millions. It makes you wonder if all that secrecy is really necessary or if it's just fueling more suspicion.
It's a question that gets at the heart of many of these secret society narratives. Is power more potent, more easily wielded when it operates in the shadows?
It's a question that's been pondered for centuries. And it looks like we're about to dive even deeper into those shadowy depths. But we'll have to save that for next time. All right, so we're back, diving even deeper into these shadowy groups and the power of secrecy. Last time we left off with the Bilderberg group, those real-life elite gatherings that just scream conspiracy theories.
Exactly. It's that lack of transparency, the whispers behind closed doors. It all fuels speculation. We're wired to connect the dots, even if those dots are miles apart.
Totally. And speaking of connecting dots, our next tier is practically built on them, Tier S. This is where things get interesting.
This is where we start to venture outside the realm of, shall we say, plausibility.
Hit me with it. What's so out there that it makes the Bilderberg group look like a book club?
Well, for starters, we have the modern incarnation of the Illuminati, not the historical Bavarian group from Tier B, but this all-powerful, all-seeing entity that supposedly runs the world from the shadows.
Right, because who needs actual historical context when you can have shadowy figures controlling everything behind the scenes?
It's about taking those whispers of influence and cranking them up to 11. We're not just talking about manipulating governments or banks. We're talking about orchestrating global events on a massive scale.
Okay, I can see the appeal, though. It's kind of comforting in a weird way, right? Like, the world feels chaotic, but what if it's not? What if someone or something is in control?
Exactly. It provides a sense of order, a narrative that's easier to swallow than just accepting the randomness of it all. Plus, pop culture keeps the Illuminati front and center. Movies, books, music, they're everywhere.
It's like the more we joke about it, the more real it becomes in our minds. Okay, so the Illuminati is still a going concern, even if they're not, sacrificing goats in their spare time. What else have we got in Tier S?
Remember those secretive Bilderberg group meetings? The ones that already set off conspiracy alarm bells.
How could I forget? It's like the ultimate breeding ground for speculation.
Well, in Tier S, those meetings aren't just discussions. They're full-on strategy sessions for global domination.
So they've gone full-on supervillain at this point.
Pretty much. We're talking about orchestrating financial crises, manipulating elections, maybe even causing the odd natural disaster.
Okay, I know secrecy breeds suspicion, but that's next level.
It is, but it highlights how conspiracy theories thrive on interpreting real-world events as evidence, even when there's no logical connection.
Right, like a weird self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, I'm ready to go even deeper down the rabbit hole. What's weirder than global elites plotting world domination?
How about reptilian overlords?
Reptilians. Okay, you're gonna have to elaborate on that one, like Men in Black style.
Think Men in Black, but with a dash of ancient astronaut theory thrown in for good measure. The idea is that these reptilian humanoids, shape-shifting aliens, basically are secretly controlling the world.
Okay, so lizard people are actually running the government.
That's the theory.
Yeah.
It sounds totally out there, but it taps into this mix of ancient myths, modern anxieties, and distrust of authority, all wrapped up in one strange but oddly compelling narrative.
So we've got lizard people controlling things from the shadows. What
yeah.
could possibly be weirder than that?
How about a secret government agency dedicated to covering up the existence of those lizard people or aliens in general? That's Majestic 12 in a nutshell.
All right, the classic alien cover-up. Didn't that one start with Roswell?
It did. The story goes that after the alleged UFO crash in 1947, President Truman set up this super-secret group, Majestic 12, to handle everything extraterrestrial investigations, cover-ups, the whole 9 yards.
So it's like the ultimate X-Files episode, but possibly real.
That's the beauty of it. You've got government conspiracies, advanced technology, alien life. It's the perfect storm of intrigue.
The conspiracy theory trifecta. All right, we've gone from secret handshakes to lizard people to government cover-ups. What's left? What could possibly be weirder than all of that?
Well, we could head into the territory of ancient aliens and lost civilizations. Ever heard of the Anunnaki?
Vaguely, they were ancient Mesopotamian gods, right?
In some contexts, yes. But in this tier, they're not just gods. They're ancient aliens who visited Earth ages ago. The theory goes that they actually created humans, maybe through genetic engineering, to be their workers, mining gold and other resources for them.
Okay, now we're talking ancient aliens, genetic engineering, a little Stargate SG-1 action. This is my kind of conspiracy theory.
It takes that age-old question, are we alone, and spins it into something both fascinating and a little terrifying.
Right. It's like, what if everything we know about history is wrong? What if those ancient myths are actually about alien encounters?
It's a wild thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it shows how these theories often tap into something deeper than just a thirst for knowledge. They offer a sense of awe, of wonder, even if it's all speculation.
Like looking up at the stars and realizing just how much is out there that we don't know, maybe we'll never know. Okay, so we've got the Anunnaki. Is there anything else in this beyond broken category?
Oh, there's one more stop on our journey. The legendary, the elusive New Atlantis.
Ah, Atlantis, the OG lost civilization. Who doesn't love a good Atlantis theory?
Right. A technologically advanced society vanished beneath the waves centuries ago. Except in this version, they didn't vanish. They went into hiding.
Okay, hold on. Why go into hiding? Why not share their super advanced tech with the world?
That's the million-dollar question. Some believe they're waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves, while others think they're secretly guiding humanity from the shadows, manipulating events to steer us toward a better future.
Right, because what's a good secret society without a little bit of benevolent manipulation? I appreciate the thought, but I think I'd rather humanity figure things out for ourselves.
Probably a wise choice. But as we've seen on this deep dive, the lines between reality and speculation can get really blurry, especially when you're talking about secret societies.
No kidding. It's been quite a ride.
It has. And I think it reveals something really interesting about us as humans. We have this deep-seated desire to understand the world, to find patterns and explanations, even in the face of uncertainty. And that's what makes these narratives so compelling, even when they're, well, out there.
All right, strap yourselves in, because we are heading into the final frontier of secret societies. We've covered historical groups, shadowy elites, but now we're going full beyond broken.
This is where we leave plausibility at the door. We're talking ancient myths, modern anxieties, all matched up into some truly wild theories.
Hit me with it. What's so out there that it makes the Bilderberg Group look like a garden club?
Well, we could start with everyone's favorite conspiracy theory all-stars, the Illuminati. But not the historical Bavarian Illuminati. We're talking about the modern incarnation, the all-powerful entity some believe is secretly pulling the strings of the entire world.
Right, because who needs actual history when you can have shadowy figures controlling everything from the shadows?
Exactly. We're not just talking about influencing governments or markets anymore. We're talking about orchestrating global events, shaping culture, maybe even deciding what goes viral online. It's the ultimate conspiracy theory escalation.
Okay, I get it. The world feels chaotic, but what if it's not? What if it's all according to some master plan, even if that plan involves, like, lizard people?
Which brings us to, well, you did ask what's weirder than shadowy elites running the world.
Oh no, you're not about to. You're really going there.
Reptilian overlords. They're a conspiracy theory staple.
Lizard people running the government. Of course, it's always lizard people.
Hey, it's a classic for a reason. It blends ancient myths with modern anxieties, throws in a healthy dose of distrust and authority, and boom, you've got yourself a conspiracy theory for the ages.
So we've got shape-shifting reptilians disguised as humans, secretly controlling the world. What's next on our Beyond Broken tour?
What's better at fueling conspiracy theories than a good cover-up?
Don't tell me. Majestic 12.
Bingo. The ultimate alien cover-up. Roswell, Area 51, government agents in black suits, it's all connected.
Right. So after that whole alleged UFO crash in Roswell, the government creates this super secret group, Majestic 12, to manage everything extraterrestrial.
Yep. Investigations, cover-ups, technology recovered from crashed UFOs. It's basically the X-Files come to life.
All right, so from secret handshakes to lizard people to government cover-ups, what could possibly top all of that? What's left in the Beyond Broken category that could even compare?
How about we ditch the shadowy figures for a bit and talk about ancient aliens, specifically the Anunnaki?
Okay, ancient aliens, I'm listening. They were what, Mesopotamian gods, weren't they?
In some circles, sure. But in this tier, they're not just gods. They're ancient astronauts who visited Earth thousands of years ago.
Okay, go on.
The theory is that they created humans, maybe even genetically engineered us, to be their workforce, here to mine gold and other resources for them.
Now that is just epic. Ancient aliens, genetic engineering. It's like Stargate meets ancient aliens with a dash of Chariots of the Gods. This is why I love this stuff. It's mind-blowing.
Makes you question everything you thought you knew, right?
Absolutely. It's that feeling of, like, what if our entire understanding of history is wrong? Okay, we've covered ancient aliens. What else is there? Is there anything that could possibly top that?
Well, we could end our journey with another classic, the story of Atlantis.
Ah, yes, Atlantis. Everyone loves a good lost civilization.
And what's more intriguing than a technologically advanced society swallowed by the ocean?
Right.
Except, in this version, they didn't just vanish. They went into hiding.
Hold on. Why go into hiding? If they're so advanced, why not help us out a bit? Share some of that sweet, sweet technology.
Some say they're waiting for the right moment, the right time to reveal themselves. Others believe they never truly left. They're secretly guiding us from the shadows, nudging us towards a better future.
Right, because every good secret society needs a benevolent hand guiding humanity. I think I'd prefer it if we just figured things out for ourselves, you know? No offense to the Atlanteans or anything.
None taken. But as we've seen on this wild ride through the world of secret societies, the line between what's real and what people want to be real, that line can get blurry.
No kidding. We've covered it all, from those historical groups with a hint of mystery to shadowy elites meeting in secret, all the way to lizard overlords and ancient aliens pulling the strings.
It's been quite the journey, hasn't it? And through it all, we've seen this really human desire to find explanations, to seek patterns, even when faced with the unknown.
It's true. That need to make sense of things, especially when the world feels chaotic. It's what makes these theories so compelling, even if they seem totally out there. So the next time you come across a theory about a secret society or a shadowy group, take a second to think about why that story resonates with you, why it captures your imagination. Because often it's not about the truth or falsity of the theory itself, but what it says about us, our hopes, our fears, and our never-ending fascination with the mysteries of our world.
Beautifully said. So until next time, keep exploring those mysteries, keep asking questions, and most importantly, never stop seeking the truth.